The way Twitch is acting towards the Emiru assault is absolutely abhorrent. They are not responding in a professional manner. The CEO truly does deserve to get fired, and now she's coming out saying that they were laughing and joking about the incident. We have Asmongold putting them on blast, and the Twitch CEO alluded to it being her fault. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, obviously, this is an absolutely terrible situation, and she said it herself. It could have turned out to be significantly worse. She could have been killed, which would have been absolutely heartbreaking. But luckily, right, that didn't happen. And luckily, she was able to get out of that situation safely, even if she is going through a lot of emotional turmoil right now, which is completely valid. But the way Twitch is handling this situation is absolutely disgusting. They are not taking this seriously. The CEO has been partying. Apparently, Twitch security were laughing about the situation, and they are on blast. So let's start out with this. She had called out the security at TwitchCon for joking and laughing about the incident. She said, "My friend who was present told me Twitch security were also behind the booth afterwards, joking about how they didn't even see what happened and immediately laughing and moving on to talking about something else. So if anyone was checking if I was okay or if I needed anything and they let the guy run away initially, I have no idea what anyone hired to keep the event safe was doing." That is crazy that he wasn't instantly taken behind the scenes so that the police could handle him. I know she has said that she is pressing charges, which is great. I hope that she sues the hell out of Twitch, and I don't see a way that this platform could survive. We've known that this platform is not profitable. Amazon is continuously propping them up, so they're not making money. They're facing major controversies with people like Hassan, the fetish streamers being allowed to run rampant on their platform, then an assault occurring and them not taking it seriously. I mean, we're talking about problem after problem after problem. It says in Twitch's statement, they said that the guy was immediately caught and detained, but that was a blatant lie. He was allowed to walk away from my meet and greet, and I didn't hear he was caught until hours after he attacked me, and I felt like that only happened because of my manager pressing for it, which is wild. Now, we also have the CEO, Dan Clancy, who is so out of touch, saying, "You know, we're looking very closely at everything that's happened there, and I care deeply about Emmy. She's a friend of mine, but it's even worse than that."
Challenge we face is a challenge in today's society. It's not limited to Twitch. It extends throughout our society. I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you control your community and you can ban people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there, okay?
But we're not talking about a live stream. We're talking about someone being assaulted at one of your events. And sure, he starts off with saying there's a big problem in society, and I'm sure he's talking about parasocial relationships, but at the same time, why would you then follow it up with, "Oh, when you're live streaming, you are in control of your audience"? It makes it sound like he is blaming her for the fact that this individual was part of her audience. That is absolutely disgusting, and I'm clearly not the only one who took it this way. Now, maybe this wasn't how he intended it to sound, but this is the way that it sounded. No way he just blamed it on not blocking and banning individuals. Who's to say this person ever even typed in chat to raise a red flag in the first place? Weird, the streamer are his friends. That's conflict of interest also means he's a crappy friend. Oh, okay, cool. So he basically just said it's her fault for making her community that way. No friend would have let her assaulter walk free. Step down. For those at TwitchCon, they did bring up the fact that there were several Q&As, and the Q&A didn't go the way that he probably anticipated. There were a lot of people really grilling him, and of course, he beat around the bush for most of the questions. I do not watch Emiru, and obviously I'm not a fan of her. However, the fact that the CEO says essentially that it's her fault that her community is like that is baffling, because she doesn't have control over everyone in her audience, which of course I completely agree with. As a content creator, we cannot control our audiences. We cannot control who comes into a live stream, who chats, unless we are talking about banning somebody. But even then, we can't control who is watching. Anybody could watch even if they are banned. And there are times where, yeah, sure, somebody's audience is a little bit out of control. Maybe they have what individuals would deem as a toxic audience. But at the same time, you can't control who even goes to one of these types of events. Putting the blame on her is wild, and I know Asmongold also grilled Twitch, which I'm so happy to see that so many people are speaking up, because I also am not a big fan of Emiru. I've never really watched her content. Of course, I know who she is, but at the same time, all of this needs to be called out because it is extremely worrying. Asmongold goes further than security failures and inadequate responses when he calls out Twitch. He lists problems with advertising, moderation, and at the executive level, with issues only being resolved when Amazon, Twitch's parent company, gets involved. He also cites the downward trend in Twitch watch time since the beginning of 2025, despite some big events that were streamed. He also says that Twitch now puts certain basic elements of viewing a stream behind a paywall, including rewinding a video without opening up a second page. He then claims that many small channels have been severely harmed in the name of stopping viewbotting. And to make this even worse, apparently there was a major situation last year where two male streamers were assailed. A Kick streamer named DBR666 ran up to them, licking one of their nipples and kissing the other's hand, with both men telling the person to stop. Security eventually removed the Kick streamer, but Twitch otherwise ignored the incident, which I had never heard of. So it seems that there wasn't a lot of social media coverage on this, which is absolutely insane. You would have thought that that would have been a wake-up call, and that all of the political assassinations and attacks that are going on would be a wake-up call for all of these large companies. They wouldn't send a Jeff Bezos to an event like this. And while sure, we're just talking about streamers, you need to treat them all as public figures, and there needs to be protection for any content creator going to these events, but they're not taking these issues seriously, which is so frustrating. This is a big reason why there are a lot of content creators who don't go to events, and it's sad that we can't go and engage with the good members of our audience because it could put us in danger. And with Emiru, I'm sure that she's going through a lot of emotional turmoil right now, but I hope all of the coverage that this event is getting and all of the people calling out the platform makes her feel a little bit better, that people are taking this seriously and are definitely willing to call out Twitch and all of their problems. And Dan Clancy going to an after event and dancing with a lady and flipping her, and I think that he was drunk and just not taking the situation as seriously as it actually is. Of course, they are going to want to try to sweep this under the rug, and we'll have to see if she ends up suing, if there's any kind of legal course of action, if at the next events Twitch actually takes situations like this seriously and tries to create a safer environment for their streamers. But things are not looking good for them, and it seems that the CEO is almost blaming her for not controlling her audience, and they are getting raked across the coals. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.